Tonight on the PageantCast, we have Susan Pagan. She's Mrs. Transcontinental, and we learn all about the Transcontinental pageants tonight here on the PageantCast.
Welcome to the PageantCast, your home for beauty pageant news and interviews on the internet.
Hi, I'm Elena Coe, Miss Ohio U.S. International, and you're watching the PageantCast. Here's my host, Tim.
Welcome, everybody, to the PageantCast. So pleased that you could join us tonight. We have a great guest in the green room, though it's not green. And it's not even in the same place because we are going to our Skype lines where we're going to meet Susan Pagan. She's Mrs. Transcontinental. Hello, Susan. How are you?
Hi, everyone. I'm good. How are you?
It's fantastic to get to meet you. We've sent a little time aside to get everything set up technology-wise. And you claim you don't have any technological background. But you were the quickest and easiest to set up I've had in a long time. So thank you very much. That was great. And I see over one of your shoulders that you have the other one. Go the other way. There, I know. I do the same thing. I'm like, oh, my hair's wrong, and I'm always going the wrong way. You have your Mrs. Universe Classic banner behind you, and of course tonight we're talking about Transcontinental, so we have a lot to talk about, young lady. So first of all, where am I calling you tonight?
I am in Connecticut, Brookfield, Connecticut, which is about an hour from New York City.
Okay, and how big are pageants in Connecticut?
I'm sorry, how what?
Well, in Connecticut, how's the pageant community? Are there like a ton of pageants going on? Is it the other Texas, or is it a little bit more subdued? What's that pageant community like out there?
It is not another Texas. A little bit more conservative as far as pageantry goes, but there are a fair amount. More Miss and more younger groups like the preteens and the teens, as opposed to the misses, but there are some.
Okay, now that leads me to the word pageant. How did you get started in pageants, and what are some of your past pageant? What are some of the past pageants you've been involved in?
Well, I started out younger. I was in Miss Connecticut USA many years ago, and then as I got older and when I got married, I entered Mrs. Connecticut America. And I did that a couple times, and then I did some others, Mrs. Pageants.
Okay. And let's talk about the title that's behind you, the Mrs. Universe Classic. Other way, there you go. Mrs. Universe Classic 2017. Oh, hey. I do it every time, and I do this a lot. So what is that pageant system?
So that pageant system is from Universe Ltd, and they are out of Bulgaria. They also have many other pageants. They have Miss Summer International, I believe. They have a model pageant. They have Mrs. Universe, Grandma Universe, and then Mrs. Universe Classic. And that was held in Bulgaria in January, and I was very fortunate to be able to participate in that, and I came home with that crown.
Fantastic. Now, tonight, we're talking about a new pageant, Mrs. Transcontinental.
Yes.
So, tell us about Transcontinental. What's the word on Transcontinental?
It's the best pageant out there.
Fantastic. I think we're going to get some hearts from Sabrina right about now. Fantastic. So, what are the phases of competition? What can you tell us about it?
So, I started as Mrs. Hemisphere. We started the pageant out as Mrs. Hemisphere, and it didn't translate well into other languages. I went to Mrs. Universe in China last year, and was, running into some struggles with the translation of that. And so that's how Transcontinental came about. It just translates better. And we feel like, across the continents, it's just more desirable. So that's why it was switched to that.
Sometimes words, when you put them in another language, they don't work well. I'll
Right.
give you two examples. As you can tell from my last name, I'm German. And what you never want to tell a German is, it's Christmas time. You never want to tell them, here, I have a gift for you. Because gift in German is Geschenk, what we think of as a gift. The word gift in German, the translation, is actually poison. So you don't want to give somebody poison and think that that's a good thing to do. Also, automakers learned this in, I think it was the early 80s. They had a new car that came out called Mist. Well, they had to rename it when they went over to Germany because mist is the word for cow manure. You don't want to be driving around in a cow patty. So it's always a good idea to take some of these terms and check them out. And so gone through the vetting process. So we've arrived at Transcontinental, which frankly, I love that name. Now,
Yes, I do too.
I understand it's going to be held in, not in Atlanta, but just outside Atlanta, just about 20 minutes away, which, folks, if you haven't flown to Atlanta, that's probably one of the best airports in the country. My luggage came through very nicely at that one. So I was glad. That is not true in LA, and I'm going to find you people. But it's a great airport to go into.
It is.
And it's a nice area, I understand, that they're going to be holding it this year, right?
Yes, and I'll tell you, the community has been embracing us. Some of the places that the ladies are going to get to go to, I'm just so excited. I can't wait, to go myself, obviously, but also
Right.
for them. It's going to be a great experience. And the areas of competition are swimsuit, forum. It's a 3 to 5 minute forum, not an interview. So you get to present your platform in a forum, and then evening gown as well, and national costume.
Okay, well, I got to ask more about a forum. That's not something that every pageant has. So what is meant by a forum? You're doing a PowerPoint presentation? What are you doing?
It can be a PowerPoint. It can be just, like a speech, a presentation through speech.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a little video. When I went to Mrs. Universe, this is what we did as opposed to an interview. I personally love it because you can control, everything. I'm a bit of a control freak, so I could control the whole presentation, and I loved that. And I felt very comfortable doing it, and I'm very happy that Sabrina has chosen to do that.
Well, I can tell you, as a person that judges from time to time, there's no controlling me when I'm in an interview room. So it's probably a good idea to take some of that over. That's fantastic. Yeah. And I think that's a great thing that's going to draw people to this pageant. So that makes it a little bit different from a lot of the other pageants that are out there. Now, I'm trying to remember. I know I'm putting you on the spot. But there's a Mrs. division, and then I think there's a Ms. Is that right, or is it a classic?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a Mrs., a Ms., a Miss, and a Ms. Classic.
Okay.
So those are the divisions, and the teen and the junior teens are going to be a separate pageant, probably in the spring of next year.
Well,
and we hope to take the international pageant out of the country. But we can't give you any more information than that right now.
Oh, don't worry. I've been pumping Sabrina for information, and she is not telling me anything. I don't know why. She thinks I'm going to spill everything. I know that's what's going on. But it's very exciting. Some of the things I've heard kind of hinted at. This is really a pageant to watch, and Sabrina's a great director, really understands the pageant industry from both sides, and and by both sides, I mean from the directing standpoint and business person standpoint, and as a contestant, because really at the end of the day, it's having a good time as a contestant that's part of what makes pageantry fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
we have come to a very exciting part of the show. It is. Do you like how cheesy I do this? Here we go. Here we go. It's time for show and tell. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Just like when you were in grade school, you write show and tell up on the chalkboard. And now it's time for show and tell. So, Susan, what did you bring? I'm really pushing this now. What did you bring for show and tell?
Okay, so this.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in the camera because
it's
in front of my face.
You're doing great.
This is a little book that I wrote. It's a preschool book, and it is called His Star, and it's told by the perspective of Bethlehem's Star. And it just simply states that each child is special, has a purpose, and are important.
Fantastic. It looks like a great read, and it's available where?
Amazon. You can get it at Amazon.com.
Fantastic. And we'll put a link to that in the show notes. Now, I do, before we close this particular episode, I want to talk to you a little bit about your platform. What can you tell us about Off the Streets?
Okay. So Off the Streets is an organization that literally does what it says. They take people off the streets that are homeless and puts them into homes of their own by supplying security deposits, startup furniture, even that first box of groceries and some home goods. And they do this all without any overhead expenses. There are no paid employees. Everything is done volunteer. And even the storage units that they hold the furniture in are all offered, free of charge. So it really is a wonderful organization, and I'm very fortunate to be, their spokesperson and to volunteer for them.
So what got you started with working with the homeless?
Well, that's something that I feel is a privilege for me to do, because I, at one point in my life, was displaced and basically homeless for almost 10 years. I grew up in a very poor environment. Our home was falling apart around us, and by the time I was a senior in high school, we had to leave our home because it was unsafe to live in. And so by that time, I had to finish high school, so we kind of dispersed and separated, and I was on my own from the time I was 17 until I got married. In my late 20s, I was living like a gypsy. So, I feel like I've emerged from that, and I should give back and to give other people hope.
Well, that's a great story, and thanks for sharing that with us.
Sure.
It's absolutely wonderful. Well, we are at the end of this episode, and there is something we do at the end of our episodes, and as I was telling you before the show, that I'm not going to surprise you. This is a surprise. Because I need to see, this is very important. Okay. I need to see your best pageant wave. So I'll set the scene. You're sitting on the back of a Roadster convertible. Okay. And you're going down, what's the largest street in Connecticut someplace?
Oh, 95.
Okay, you're on 95 and you're waving to people on both sides of the street. So let's see this pageant wave. And by the way, I'm going to be grading. So let's see. Let's see your best pageant wave. And you somehow have to get your hand into the screen shot. Okay. So that's always the most awkward part.
How can I do this? Okay.
Hey, now that's, you know what? We do this a lot. That's unique. That really is unique. I haven't seen that. Fantastic. A double hand flourish kiss. That's what that's called, by the way, folks, for those of you that are looking into that. The double hand flourish kiss was originated by Tamina Zitskatanen in 1828.
Are you making that up?
I absolutely am. I am lying like crazy right now. No, that's fantastic. I really like that. I really, really like that. That's great. Tamina, you thought that was a real name?
I thought it was a useless tidbit of information.
No, I'm looking at words that are in front of me. It came off of this disk drive. Kevin Spacey, I'm not in The Usual Suspects. So, all right. Fantastic. Thank you so much. You were absolutely fantastic to have on the show. Susan Pagan, Mrs. Transcontinental. Did I say the name right throughout the...
You did.
Okay,
you did.
Good. Because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it through here. I'm like, 5 letters. Watch me screw this up. Thank you so much. And to all the people that are watching at home or watching on YouTube, let's say Tierra Dreams to everybody. Tierra Dreams.
Tierra Dreams.
We just announced not too long ago that we had an app in the Android Play Store. Well, now we are in the Apple App Store as well. That's right, now you can get a PageantCast app in the 2 major mobile phone marketplaces, in the Google Play Store and now in the Apple App Store. You can check out the PageantCast and its award-winning website. All the features that are there are here, connections to our Facebook and Twitter accounts, and lots more. You'll want to check it out immediately at the links that are somewhere in our show notes or somewhere nearby, or just do a search on PageantCast. We're the only thing that comes up as that app, surprising as that may be. Please download us and rate us today, and we would love to hear from you what you think about our app. Hope you enjoy it, the PageantCast app.